Hey guys, what's going on? ZeroArmada here with a Blacklight Retribution gameplay and commentary. I'm playing heavy metal, mostly some hard suit gameplay. The light hard suit, the newest hard suit variant. This is on the Russian version of Blacklight. So for this video, what I want to really talk about for most of it is the parity patch update. So later this month, we're gonna get a slew of new content that'll be great for new and old players to kind of come back and see how the game has changed. Hard2 Labs has also basically given us a roadmap for 2 additional patches that are slated to come out later this year. And being an optimist, you're just kind of looking at an optimist point of view. Even if these patches and these new content updates help the game become relevant and popular again, the game is still going to be destined to fail. And ultimately, what the game lacks, even with new content, is a strong community presence, and that's where PWE needs to kind of step up to the plate, because they've really done a good job of mismanaging the game from beginning to how it is right now. And if they don't really give the game the attention it needs, honestly, what's the point in updating the game? You're giving people false hope. You're basically milking the game for a few months, and then everything's going to go back to square one, where the game is essentially dead, devoid of any new content or anything like that. So basically, having a strong community presence by the publisher gives players a sense of participation, a sense of their value to the game, and shows the players that the game is still being worked on, still being funded, and still a huge part of kind of what the future has in store for the game. So there's still plans for the future by giving the game a strong community presence in terms of like a community manager or something like that. And kind of, you guys are all smart. You guys go to new games and you see all these new free-to-play games like Dirty Bomb, and you see that they have community managers, having daily live streams, and engaging with the community, giveaways, new events, and all that stuff basically gives a sense of new content without being new content, giving players the ability to have new experiences by having someone orchestrate all these events and all these activities is invaluable to the game. You prolong the game's life just by that alone. And I think really PW needs to understand that having someone that can do that on a daily basis can be the liaison for the community in terms of, obtaining feedback, learning what the community wants, what they desire, what the customer wants, what the players want, what events make the game more appealing and more interesting to players who may not, feel fully committed to the game because it's a static content. And all that stuff needs to be taken into account with PWE. And to be honest with you guys, Blacklight never really had a community manager. I mean, we really never had one. Trail Turtle, Crabclaw, a couple other people, they were great people. They definitely, you can tell that they had a good idea of what they wanted to do with the game, and you felt like they had good intentions. But most of the time, they were overcommitted in terms of, they were managing 4 or 5 games. They didn't have the time to give Blacklight that Blacklight really needed. So Blacklight really kind of had no presence from PWE. I mean, at times you can really tell the forums was a ghost town. Really, you see PWE employees post when there's downtime, when there's maintenances, stuff like that, but nothing to really interact with the community to show that they actually care about the game. And obviously that's not how they feel, and I hope that's not how they feel, but you give that impression by not really being there for your players, and that's not right. I mean, you can really say that the game is ultimately on PWE's radar because they want to show that they have an FPS game on Arc, and that shouldn't be what the game is about. I mean, they want to make a profit, and if you make a game successful and appealing to players, they'll get that profit. So kind of what I'm really getting at is Domino. I don't know if you guys know who Domino is, but he's been a large focal point in the community. He was basically a QA lead for PWE, and even with his limited capacity in terms of him being a QA lead, he was probably the best thing that could ever happen to Blacklight in terms of PWE's participation in the game. With the limited resources that he had, he really kept the game alive. He busted his butt to keep the game alive, and that's kind of evident in terms of 2 things mainly. BCL, BCL would have been dead a long time ago if Domino didn't kind of step up to the plate and really kind of help alleviate the hacking issue in Blacklight that kind of was rampant a couple of months ago, or a couple. It was like way back in the day. You can go into a lobby without having a hacker in there, and it was pretty bad. And PW didn't really know how to handle it. It was pretty obvious they didn't know how to handle it. Punkbuster obviously doesn't do crap for the game, and Domino helped with the help of some community members start the BLR blacklist, which basically was in charge of kind of figuring out and discussing whether certain players were suspicious of using third-party programs to cheat in game and all that stuff. So alleviating the hacking issue basically kept BCL from dying. And with BCL, we had a hint of the content that was basically artificially generated by the community and community relations. So that's something that's really big. And I just want you guys to realize that without Domino, we wouldn't have BCL, we wouldn't have the blacklist. And ultimately, that's how life is going to be unless we make sure Domino becomes a larger part of Blacklight's future. And believe me when I say this, I know for a certain fact that Domino will become the community manager. And ultimately, that's what needs to happen if the game's going to survive. And I really do believe that. So I'm going to post a link in the description box down below. I really plead with you guys, take 2 or 3 minutes of your time, just go on the forums, post your support for Domino in this thread, show PWE, show Heartsuit Labs that he's a pivotal part of the game from the present, the past, and the future. And I can assure you guys, if Domino's given the opportunity to become the community manager for Blacklight, it's going to give the potential for this game to become much more successful with him than without him. So ultimately, kind of looking past PWE's previous blunders, they can sensibly come to the conclusion that a community manager is not an option but a necessity for a free-to-play game to thrive and survive. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I really do appreciate your guys' support, and I really encourage you to go on the forum thread and voice your support for Domino. It means the world to me, and it definitely means the world to him. And thanks for watching as always, guys. I really do appreciate it.